Hello everyone, welcome to my math channel. This is Mr. Mahmoud explaining Algebra 2, Chapter 1, Lesson 6, Solving Systems of Equations. Example 1. Solve the system of equations by completing a table. X plus y equals 3, negative 2x plus y equals negative 6. So the first step is to solve for y in each equation. Means get y alone in the left hand side. So the first equation will be y equals negative x plus 3. And the second equation will be y equals 2x minus 6. Of course, this is very simple. If you just move x to the other side, it will be in negative. Negative 2x to the other side, it will be in positive. Now, we can create the table. Let's take the values of x as 1, 2, 3. And according to these values, we are going to evaluate y from the first equation. We call it y1. Then y from the second equation, and we call it y2. So we just substitute with 1, 2, 3. Negative 1 plus 3 will give you 2. Negative 2 plus 3 will give you 1. Negative 3 plus 3 will give you 0. And also here 1, 2, 3 in the second equation. So 2 times 1 minus 6 is negative 4. 2 by 2 minus 6 is negative 2. 2 by 3 minus 6 is 0. So we have now the order pairs, as it's clear the x's are 1, 2, 3 in both, and these are the values of y1 and the values of y2. You can notice that this order pair is common. So the solution to the system is the common order pair, which is 3 and 0. If the common order pair didn't appear from the values you have chosen, means you need to change the values or increase them. Means not only 1, 2, 3, maybe 4, 5 and so on, maybe 0, maybe negative, till you reach the common order pair. Now this is your turn to solve. Pause the video and try to choose whether A, B, C or D, and you will find it B. Let me show you how. I'll take the first equation, x plus y equals 2. I'll move x to the other side, so y equals negative x plus 2. I prefer to make a separate table for each one. So this is x and y. I'll take, for example, 0, 1, 2. So let's substitute with 0, will give you 2. Substitute with 1, negative 1 plus 2 is 1. Substitute with 2, negative 2 plus 2 is 0. I'll take now the second equation, x minus 3y equals negative 6. I have here 3y in negative, so it's better to get it in this side in positive and take the negative 6 to this side in positive. And I'll start with 3y, so it will be 3y equals x plus 6. Now divide by 3 for all. So this is y equals, here is 1. 1 divided by 3 is third. X plus 6 divided by 3 is 2. Now I'll create the table. I'll take the x values and then I will evaluate the y. Let's take the x values as 0, 1, 2. Substitute with 0. Third times 0 plus 2 will give you 2. 1 times third is third, so will be 2 and third. Then 2 and 2/3, and so on. Now you can see that the common ordered pair is really 0 and 2. So B is the accurate choice. Now, we need to solve by graphing. So you are going to graph the two equations. Write each equation in slope intercept form, means also try to get y alone. So the first equation will take this form, y equals half x, and the second equation will take this form, y equals negative x plus 6. Now we can graph the two lines. How can we graph this one? It has y-intercept as 0, so we put here point at 0. And the slope is half, means we rise 1 and we go to the right 2. Rise 1, go to the right 2, rise 1, go to the right 2, rise 1, go to the right 2. So this is the first line. Now the second line. It has y-intercept as 6, so we plot a point at 6 on the y-axis. And it has a slope of negative 1. This negative 1 means negative 1 over 1. So according to the rule rise over run, rise negative 1 means go down. Go down 1 unit and move to the right 1 unit. Down 1 to the right, down to the right, down to the right, down to the right, and so on. Then you join the line. Now it's clear that the two lines intersect at exactly at the order pair 4 and 2. So the solution is really 4 and 2. How can you check the solution is okay? Substitute the 4 in the place of x and 2 in the place of y, and you can check really if it's equal to 0 in the first equation and it equals to 6 in the second equation. So your answer is okay. Now this is your turn to solve. Pause the video and try to choose the accurate answer, and you will find it A. Of course, simply, since this is multiple choice question, so you can take the point 4 and 1. This is a point of intersection, and substitute. If it works, you are going to choose A. If it doesn't work, go here and choose the point of intersection, and so on. I'll try now 4 and 1 in the first equation. So 4 plus 3 times 1, is it equal to 7? Of course, 4 plus 3 times 1 is 7, and 7 is equal to 7, so it works with the first equation. Now for the second. 4 minus 1. Is it really 3? Of course, 4 minus 1 is 3 is equal to 3. So it works for the second equation as well. So that's why A is an accurate choice. Now let's classify the system. Graph the system of equations and describe it as consistent and independent, consistent and dependent, or inconsistent. Let me tell you the difference. Consistent and dependent means the two lines are exactly on each other. The first line and the second line are exactly on each other. So we say consistent and dependent, as if the two lines depend on each other. Consistent and dependent. So this is consistent and dependent. Consistent and independent. Consistent and independent. Independent means every line has its own direction and they will intersect at one point. This is consistent, independent. Now inconsistent means no solution, and no solution in this case you will find the two lines are parallel. Two lines are parallel means they never intersect, and no solution in this case. So if the graph gives you this shape, means it's consistent dependent, because the two lines depend on each other. In this case, consistent independent. Independent means every line has its own direction, so they will intersect at one point. In this case, it's inconsistent means no solution. So let's write equations in slope-intercept form. X minus y equals 5 will be y equals x minus 5. Of course, I moved y to this side and 5 to this side, and I wrote y first. Now x plus 2y equals negative 4 will be y equals negative half x minus 2. We move the x, then we divide it by 2. Now you can graph the two lines. It's clear that the two lines intersect at one point, which is 2 and negative 3. So the graphs of the equations intersect at 2 and negative 3. Since there is one solution to the system, this system is consistent and independent. Graph the system of equations and describe it as consistent and independent, consistent and dependent, or inconsistent. So also you are going to write each equation in slope-intercept form. So the first equation will be y equals 5 over 2x, and the second equation will be y equals 5 over 2x minus 5. It's very clear that the two equations, they have the same slope and they have different y-intercept. The y-intercept here is 0, the y-intercept here is negative 5. So for sure these two lines will be parallel lines and it will be inconsistent. Let's see how. The two lines are parallel as we mentioned. The lines do not intersect. Their graphs are parallel lines, so there are no solutions that satisfy both equations. The system is inconsistent. Now, graph the system of equations below. What type of system of equations is shown? X plus y equals 5 means it could be y equals negative x plus 5. This one, 2x equals y minus 5. Let's move negative 5 to the other side. So y equals 2x plus 5. So it's clear that they have different slopes. The slope here is negative 1. The slope here is 2. Since they have different slopes, means every line it has its own direction, so it will be consistent and independent. And here is the graph of the two lines if you wanna graph them. Now this is your turn to solve. Pause the video and try to choose the accurate choice, whether it's A, B, C, or D, and you will find it B. Let me show you how. Let's take the first equation, try to get y alone. So the first equation will be y equals negative x plus 3. Now let's take the second equation. I have here the y in negative, so it's better to get it to this side in positive and get the x here in negative. So this will be 2y equals negative 2x plus 6. Now let's divide by 2 for both sides. This will give you y equals negative x plus 3. Now compare these two equations. You will find them exactly the same slope with same y-intercept, means they are coincident lines. The two lines depend on each other. They are dependent lines. So you are going to choose consistent and dependent. Also, this is your turn to solve. Try to choose the accurate answer, whether it's A, B, C, or D, and you will find it. Yes, it should be C. Y, the first equation is ready. Y is separated. Let's try to separate this one. The y is positive, so it remains in the left hand side. Let's move the negative 6x to the other side in positive. So 2y equals 6x plus 10. Now let's divide by 2 for all. This will give you y equals 3x plus 5. Let's compare the two equations now. This is the first equation, and this is the second one. They have the same slope. The slope here is 3. The slope here is 3 as well, but they have different y-intercept, means they are parallel. And if the two lines are parallel, they have no solution in common, no common solution, so it will be inconsistent system. Now, example 3, question D. Also, this is your turn to solve. Pause the video and try to choose the accurate answer. Graph the system of equations below. Which statement is not true? Means we have 3 true statements and one of them is not true. So graph, and after you graph, you will find out which statement is not true, and the solution will be A. And why it's A? After you graph, you can notice that really F and G are inconsistent because they are parallel. Really F and H are consistent and independent because they intersect at one point, F and H. G and H are consistent. Also G and H are consistent because they intersect at a point. And this is the only one that is wrong. F and G are consistent and dependent. Of course not. They are inconsistent. That's why we are going to choose A, because this is the only not true statement. It's clear also from the shape of the function. We have here the slope is 1 for the function f, and the slope here is 1, and they have different y-intercept, mean these two lines are parallel. Parallel means inconsistent system, so A is wrong. We are going to choose A because we need the not true. Now this is summary for the classification. Consistent and independent, they intersect the intersecting lines and they have one solution in common. Consistent and dependent, so they represent the same line and they have infinitely many solutions because infinite number of common points we have on both lines. Now the inconsistent system, they represent parallel lines and no solution in this case. By this, my dear students, we come to the end of this part of this lesson. Until we meet again in the second part, goodbye.